Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to All Things Raid Podcast, Episode 2. You got your boy Wally. You got Supreme Overlord. What's going on, man?
What's going on, Wally? Pleasure to be here, like always.
Yep. Now we're into Episode 2. And we got some interesting topics. A lot of things been dropping off, and it's been pretty good as far as what's been going on. Some interesting takes that have been being set out here. Raid Shadow Legends new update that are looking pretty nice. But let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. So, first topic up on today is Ray got a new minigame.
Yeah, it's wild, man. Have you played it, right?
Yeah, I actually tried it already. Here it is. Here's what I did. So this is actually legit, and it's pretty nice. It was pretty fun for what it was. I mean, for sure. So this is pretty exciting that they're trying this new little thing. That they're giving up free resources in this new little mini game. All you have to do is just sit there and survive, move around with Elhain as she's striking all the little spider insects and just dropping them while she's gaining skills along the way or improving the skills. So this is pretty nice. Something simple, something light, and then you can do it real quick. So so pretty interesting. And they're giving away pinpoint gear, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Especially
you got full 9-piece set, right? Artifacts, accessories, bunch of resources, energy,
right?
Multi battles. Oh man, just to play a game that's pretty fun, because this isn't the first time I've seen this kind of like survivor game or style, because I've seen it in League of Legends as well as World of Warcraft had these mini games or something similar. And I think I've seen a bunch of like mobile games that have redone it since, but it's ridiculously addicting. So I'm excited. I've already gotten one round into it too, so I'm probably going to be grinding that out as fast as I can. And because those rewards are awesome. I can't believe it. Free rewards.
All you gotta do is just play a little mini game, and then voila, it's there. So it's it's pretty interesting. So
these new owners got some good stuff in the horizon, I think.
Pretty much. Who knows? More likely, so it could be the new owners that are thinking these ideas. Hopefully, they listen to a lot of our ideas and implement them for the future. Because there's definitely a lot of things that should be reconsidered about this game overall. But definitely something pretty interesting, pretty light, and pretty accessible to do, because all you have to do is just simply survive and just move it around.
And you can have your regular raid launcher going on at the same time, multi-battling, doing things in the background. I hope it says it's a limited event, so you can get it. It's only playable through the Plarium launcher, so make sure to head over there. If you're using mobile, link your account through the settings and make sure you can log in on a PC. And that way you can get access to this game. It is time sensitive. There's going to be 3 different stages that unlock. So the next one's going to be open in 37 hours and 48 minutes there. And each bracket's going to release the next set of artifacts that we can farm out of here. So super easy, super fun way. So make sure you head over there and take advantage of all this free stuff, man. At least, man, it's just too many good stuff. It's 5-star gear and a full 9-piece pinpoint set. Like, can't go wrong.
Right. And then you're getting a prism. You're getting some other stuff along the way. The only sad thing is, of course, if you are a mobile player, you don't get this, which is the stinger of this whole thing. If you are a mobile player, that is the stinger.
If you're strictly mobile, yeah. But at this point, there's probably a lot of people that have like a brother or a sister or a family member or at school, you know what I mean?
That is true. But but that's the one thing, is like you want to make sure it's accessible to everybody. You don't want to just try to lock in the idea of it.
If I was in middle school right now, on every spare and every recess or whatever I had, I'd be in the computer lab loading this up. No joke. That's what I'd be doing. You can imagine a whole bunch of kids, all the nerds like me in the computer lab on recess, everybody else out there playing kickball, but I'm in here playing the mini game. Right. That's literally what I would be doing right now if I was in middle school. I'm not even joking.
No, that's for sure. Everyone will try to get as fast as possible. But pretty nice. But that is for sure. But let's move on to the next idea thing here. And let's go into the next topic, because The next one we want to talk about here is MTGJedi's video about his gearing hot topic. So, you know, he has a hot topic on gearing, and let's see what he has to say about this overall, as far as, you know, the overall topic to what he's speaking on, and let's see what he has to say.
I got a hot take in the raid community for you today. Let's see what you think about it. What's up, guys? MTGJedi here. How you doing today? Fresh in time for CVC and ready to go for you. I have been thinking about this topic for about a week now, maybe, well, intensely for about a week. And it's been on my mind budding for a little bit of time before that, because in the raid community right now, the sentiment is the dungeons are not good enough. And while I do agree that that blanket statement is true, like, it's about time that we had a much higher rate of 6-star gear in the hard dungeons. It's about time that we had a much higher rate of mythical gear in the dungeons. Both of those things are true. With that being said, the dungeons are still extremely important. And I don't think that players and content creators are valuing how important they are.
That's a great point.
Great point. Yeah, so let's stop right here, right? And I hear this all the time. Neither if it's, you know, Hell's Hades, Ash, whoever it is out there that's saying the same sentiment, right? Dungeons is pretty much obsolete other than Spider until, you know, the quote unquote the event dungeon comes into play. Then you get Pinpoint. Then technically it's, you know, obsolete too, right? Even though not ultimately, but yeah, pick and choose, right? And then, you know, it's like you're pretty much the new wave is Doom Tower. Focus on Doom Tower, get there. Focus on Faction Wars to get the perception gear, and so on and so forth, etc., etc. You know, focus on Hydra, focus on Demon Lord, focus on everywhere else gear has nothing to do with energy, right? And I can get all of that, but it's very. I don't like the idea of when people say this statement, and I get it, right? It's like, it's mindful for you to say because you don't need it no more. But when you say it in a vast vacuum saying it's obsolete, period, well, what happens when players find that out and then they realize they're stuck with just obsolete gear? In reality, none of these gears are obsolete because you're only chasing stats at the beginning of the game anyways.
For sure. I can play a little bit of a devil's advocate when it comes to his position, because or what the community sentiment is, I guess maybe from higher end people. When I played when I did the Hell Hades challenge there as it's going on, these guys were hitting milestones so much faster than I was able to, and I was focusing on dungeon gear, getting that up and thinking that was definitely the way to go. They were prioritizing getting the higher level materials to forge. So they were on the forge like immediately as it became available to them, and they were farming Faction Wars and playing a different game essentially. So I can understand, and they were able to do this on like day 2 or 3 of starting the game. So with that high level of knowledge of playing the game, I understand why you could say, "Oh, the old gear is not necessary, or it's outdated, or what's the word, or you know what I mean, needs to be just gotten rid of," because when you're in that situation, I get it. But for the rest of us that don't know and can't min max and perform like they do, we definitely need that gear.
Right, because like at the beginning, right, you're just using any gear you have. For most people, right, for me, is like, if I do it, I'm using somewhat subpar gear to a degree, and then it's like, okay, once I get the 4-star, it's like strip away the garbage and then sell away the garbage and then get newer 4-star stuff and then work that into the gear amongst my champions. Mm-hmm. So the stance on those things are just very tough because of the idea climate of where the game at. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I wouldn't agree, because again, when you start to get gear that are more 2-piece sets, right? And you can actually divulge where they're more than just one piece. Like for instance, what's the set I'm thinking about? The set that Arbiter has. I forgot the name of it.
Oh,
I forgot the name, but pretty much that set, right? It gives you 10 plus speed and then 40 plus 40 resistance. Like 2 of those together. So pretty much you're adding speed set and resistance set together into one perfect combo in a 2-piece gear. Like that's massive because you're taking the exact plus 40 and then you drop down by 2 points of speed and you put it in one set. But the problem is, where do you get that? Forge Pass. And you have to pay for most of it to get a good lonesome of it. Other than that, you're just taking the normal stuff from the free rack on top, right? Versus the pay rack that you have to pay for. So it's sort of tough to get that gear overall. And the fact that Plarium is not making no way to really get that type of gear, then it sort of just leave you in a halt because you can't really do nothing else with that because those gears are exclusive. And with that, forces players to consider paying because why? Because you want to get exclusive gear that make the game more easier overall.
Just another mechanic that Raid puts in play for us to buy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just one of the things that sort of just suck about the game a little bit because the gear that would literally help you out to do more things is pretty much locked up in payments, and that's just sort of trash. Like it just crazy. It's just crazy. Hold on, let me see if I can find the name of it. If I could even just find it real quick, because I do want to make sure I speak that out. Where is it? It's not even fresh on my mind. All right, Righteous Gear. That's what I was talking about. Righteous Gear. So yeah, and that's on a 2-piece set, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's on a 2-piece set. So that tells you a lot right there. For a gear like that to be on a 2-piece set, you're getting plus 10% speed, and then 40 and plus 40 resistance. Make that a full-on set for 6 pieces. That's literally plus 30% speed, and then plus 120 resistance. That's crazy. So, things like that, especially for a support champion that doesn't need to be CC'd and everything else, that's crazy for a champion to have that all together, right? So, it just things like that you look at in the game and you just be like, man, look, it just, it's just very crazy. It's like, because even if you're a new player, right, if you set a champion full speed, right, 12, 24, 36, you get plus 36% sitting on speed alone. And then if you get the divine speed that's in arena when it drops after the Sunday, once it drops on that Sunday when it calculates all your arena battles, then it gives you plus 12% speed sets with 3 churns of 15% HP self shields, right? Mm-hmm. So things like that for the divine life and then even speed is those are just nicely current in the game at the beginning. But of course, yes, there are definitely going to be other sets that have speed in them, and then you'd be like, well, this is a little bit more superior one way or the other. So it's just one of those things of just saying damn if you do, damn if you don't. It's we all start somewhere, but to say that the gear obsolete is pick and choose. Because even then, right, most of the gear that even are in Doom Tower, I don't know how much of the gear really even has speed as a substat in them.
Yeah, no, I think they mostly just rushed in that challenge, the perception gear and trying to get the best stats out of them, and then trying to get higher and pushing that up, going three-piece perception, and then starting the grind of farming Doom Tower material once they unlocked it, right? Because I feel like they were pumping ungodly amounts of damage in Clan Boss, and I'm hitting a ceiling, and they're just nothing happened, right? So it's that knowledge, and for them, I don't even know if any of them really use anything outside that starter, some of those starter sets when it comes to the original speed or the original sets, out of the dungeon. So
right,
I can understand their perspective, but at the same time, from this side of the aisle, I'm Yeah, no, maybe we should make it so those sets are a little bit easier attainable, or at least some 6 stars are a little bit easier to get, so we can make it into the mid game a lot faster, and then catch up to them instead of feeling like there's just so much ahead of us to do.
Yeah, I mean, it all really depends. Cause like again, like when I think about it, like, okay, for instance, lifesteal, right? The first dungeon you're more likely should be advanced in any sensible way is dragon, right? That's gonna be the 1st one you touch most of the times, every single time, 100%, right? And most people tell you, yeah, start with lifesteal because lifesteal is gonna be the thing that you need for your main starter champion. But guess what? The better version of lifesteal is Bloodthirst, right? And Bloodthirst is in Doom Tower, but it gives you the same thing. But the only difference is it's adding crit damage to it, right? And if last time I checked, let me find it.
Lethal's awesome too.
Yeah. Because Bloodthirst, it gives you a crit rate plus 12%, and then it gives you heals for 30% of the damage dealt. And I think that is neither 2 or 4 piece.
Yeah.
The other
4 piece, I believe. It's a strong set. I like that one. That one and Lifesteal, the two that I'm farming, and then on my defensive side, Guardian is what I've been trying to make.
Yeah, it's a 4 set. So
it's hard.
Yeah, so like with that alone, right, it's way more better, right? Because it cleans up the problems of you going for crit rate in Ice Golem and going for, lifesteal and dragons put together. It cleans up those problems for you. You don't have to worry about it no more. And and that's the thing is like, with that one gear over in one place, and then all you have to do is just farm it by constantly going. But that's the thing is like most people the first time going into Doom Tower, more likely it's not gonna even get that opportunity to even go past it. Like I remember the first time I went there, I was not able to go through it the first time. Like it took me a couple of rounds before I even got a chance to really go deep in. And I still haven't completed.
The first couple times, I think the first time I went there and when it unlocked, I failed on the first stage, and then the second time or third time, like maybe a week or two later, I only got like 2 or 3 levels. I didn't even make it to a secret room or nothing like that. It took a while before I could get consistently past like the 3rd or 4th Doom Tower boss before I just get stuck, right?
Right, and that's the thing is like, and especially when you get to like, because the first half, like the first lower half, it should be the easy part as long as you have the right champions and everything else to go through. But then once you meet the middle half, that somewhat tends to be a little difficult for you, depending on if you don't have, because of course, if you don't have enough of the crit damage to really punch, then it's like you're pretty much stuck there in a long form. And then to reach even the higher is like, well.
And to help you get through that is the gear from the materials that you get from those levels bosses. So if you can't clear it, you know what I mean? So it's rough. Like depending on where Bommel lands, I can either kill him or not. Right. So I've got him where he was pretty high. I forget which rotation it is, relatively high for me. Like, and both Vergus and Truath can't take him down, and they're pretty geared out now. Yeah, even when I put them in straight regeneration or just straight guardian, they just can't get through them, right? So that's just a lack of gear. But yeah, so that puts a stop on me. And then the one other one that gets me is the Fey Dragon or whatever, the one that creates the duplicates of yourself. And of the team that you bring, and if you can't kill them fast enough, like I just get wrecked. I just don't understand.
You gotta kill them fast enough, then you gotta lock her out by controlling her turn meter, and then just to kill her off.
Yeah,
so you can't do that, and then you're screwed.
If I can make it through like the first little wave of their counter attack or whatever, or their first wave of attack, I have like 1 or 2 champions left, and that's usually not my DPS or nukers. So I basically just run out the clock and die, or just leave at that point because I know it's over. But it is rough. So you know what I mean? Like for you to get to the stage, the levels of Doom Tower, to get the gear to be strong enough to clear that, you have to complete that. But
yeah, I mean, look, everything's a challenge.
If only we had 6-star gear. If it was only easier to get lifesteal and the regular 3 sets in 6-star with really, really good stats before that might also help us get there, and then we can get the materials to get the better gear to keep progressing. But yeah,
I mean, lifesteal playing one gear though. That's the thing. It's like everyone doesn't need lifesteal ultimately, because remember, lifesteal is reflecting on damage being put out to then reheal. So it's like if your champion can't even do damage, lifesteal doesn't really matter. Because most people even say region's better than lifesteal anyways, because lifesteal you have to do damage. Region you just gotta keep surviving and rehealing as you keep on going, taking turns. So it's just one of those things, right? But that's why when it comes to certain bosses in Doom Tower, they need certain champions. Like for instance, I know Hell Hated was showing off Templar, a simple rare fusion champion in campaign, right? That it just constantly just keep taking Mamo. It constantly went into that block, his block damage, blocked the waves of the bombs, kept on going, kept on cycling, and then from there it's like no matter how long it takes, as long as it's not like the 15-minute deadline, give or take, as long as it clears it, you're good to go. And
the key thing is that you have to have the right stats on him for it to work. So even if you got Templar and you're low level, you may not be able to pull that off. So it's still kind of like, you know what I mean? It's only stuff that you can do later on down the road once you've already built out an account. But it's nice to have an option if you really need to try to kind of Jimmy rig it past that. If you're at low level, maybe you do have a Templar and maybe you can squeeze together the stats, allows you to get past for that week or whatever. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, but it wasn't even the stats, because I know there are certain people that even showed that if you get the revenge accessories, which is in Clan Boss Shop, if you get the revenge accessory, you can also add that too, which helps push more damage out. Which was also a pretty nice idea when they did it. So, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I mean, I like how this all works, but that's the idea of realizing, like, even if you think, like, not even just in certain champions, but even just the gear is like, the gear in itself is a long-term deal. And it's like, I get it. Most people say, you look at Ice Golem, what really is in Ice Golem that you would keep other than Reflect? And then if you look at Dragon, what gear other than speed and maybe one other thing you're gonna keep out of Dragon, and then Fire Knight's like, okay, he literally said the only thing that was worthy in Fire Knight is really just region gear, and I'm like, wait, Savage not important? I'm like, okay, oh right, okay, that's right, because you got lethal, and it's like, okay, I'm like, but how much people are really beating that Dark Fae? It's like, I mean, you're really not overseeing like most people that are struggling.
Yeah, it's just very true. Yeah, it's when you've been out of it for so long, it's kind of even. Oh no, it's weird because the mindset and the ability, like even though he can go back and play, like early game and just crush it, like you forget how hard it was when you are new, right? So yeah, no, I get you. I get what you're saying.
Well, yeah, but I'm not saying like just like when you're new. Cause like again, he's already experienced. I'm like someone else that is still trying to understand how to put stats together and why these stats have to work on these champions. They're gonna be clueless. And then when you tell them even further that the gear that they're farming is just trash, that even makes them more clueless. And personally, it just becomes irritating, and then they just quit.
Exactly. So then it's just something that we don't want, or something that shouldn't be affecting new players, but
yeah. But let's get down to the video, because I know we've been talking a little bit more than we have. So yeah,
estimate is that 93% of the player base should still be living their life in these dungeons. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of ways to get amazing gear in this game, but I think it's overestimated how impactful the other gear is. You still need other gear sets in order to compete in this game, and when I do takeovers, I am not seeing that type of gear. So let's get into all of that. I want to talk about three main things today. The first one is going to be the market. The second one is going to be the forge, and then we'll wrap up and get back to the dungeon topic as well. The market, first of all, okay? When you come into your game and you see a red dot in your market, every time you come to the Bastion and you see a red dot in your market, click in here and buy your mystery shards. There's a reason why I call it the mystery shard market. And this is one of the ways that I always have mystery shards. Always. I farm campaign, which I made a video on recently. Still think that's super important. And number 2, I buy the mystery shards from the market. Then the other thing I want to mention about the market is if you're saving up a lot of silver, which a lot of people are not doing, you should be farming silver as much as possible so that you can roll and test your gear. The most common thing I see with people's gear is that it's unrolled, and that's how I find the potential in takeovers. I roll it, I have my Jedi luck, we lock down some insane rolls. With that being said, if you have extra silver to spare, the excessively overpriced items in the market can be good finds.
So real quick, I want to make a quick comment.
Interesting.
Right, yeah, no, that's really good. But this is the one of the big time comments that I really talk about, right? And that is the hard part of this game, because I did a lot of account takeovers off screen, like off recordings, right? And amongst my teammates, right? And one of the toughest things I've seen across the board is just holding on to silver, because those rolls, you're not rolling one time and then it's done. You're rolling one time and then it could be canceled or it could be successful. So that problem in the game is, why are we forced to lose out on silver on gear because the difficulty to roll the gear is on? So that even makes it worse, because now I'm losing out on silver because of the rise of difficulty, right? Like the first 4 upgrades are easy. You may as well say they're free, right? Cheapest.
So hard. Yeah.
Silver, right? But then they tell you, oh, well, the next one will be a little difficult. And then the next one will be even more difficult. And the last one will be extremely difficult, to the point you lose like millions of silver on top. But why? And why? Because it's the constant grind of messing with you and destroying your rotation, how you want to do the builds. So now, just like what Jedi said, right? You should be out there farming gear. But the thing is, I mean, you should be out there farming silver. But the problem is this, right? Let's say I say, screw it. You just rip every gear and you say you're not touching, you don't want to buy no more gear. You just selling everything. But God forbid, you need still new gear, right? Like you need new gear to upgrade these things and upgrade new champions and upgrade your current champions builds, because they're not perfect yet. And granted, you could say, well, you only really need a certain amount of champions. Yeah, but guess what? Certain amount of champions are only gonna get you so far in this game to a degree. So it's like that. So it's like eventually you have to ask yourself, when do you piggyback, slow down your progression just to only build up enough silver, so then you have enough silver continuously to then build out the gear, so then you can figure out how much of it. Because I'll tell you right now, recently I upgraded my account to where like now I'm having like plus 16 gear on my champions that are pretty nice. It's okay. It's not ultimately like crazy or bonker out there, but it's pretty decent for where my champion's at and where they were before, to the point now I can actually do better content. Because right now I just got into like Dragon's stage 20 like recently. Right, so I'm like, okay, damn, I did a major upgrade. You know, I got to the potions like down to 20, like the arcane and the void down to 20 not too long ago.
Oh, okay.
Frame. So you know, but that's the thing, is like, if you know that, and sometimes it sort of takes you to get this like to stage 16 on your gear, but Raid is being a jerk by, you know, making you lose out because, oh well, you upgraded but it failed. It's like, how does an upgrade fail? And why is it failing? And it makes you lose out of that silver. So now you got to go out there and go struggle again and go through this. And why? Because they're pushing you to lose more energy to then force you to consider buying energy. It's everything is forcing you one way or another to consider buying. And it's just nasty work.
Yeah, and it comes from like originally like from like normal like RPG games and stuff like that. Like the failing of stuff is kind of like kind of simulate that effect of like, you know, back in medieval times, you weren't exactly you know, when you're making your sword, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, right? You're going to have to restart it. You're going to get some really bad, you know, blades. You're going to have to like scrap them. They're going to be scrapped.
No, and that's fair. That's
so
fair.
Like, right. Yeah. So like but when is role playing and turning it into a mechanic to get real world money out of you, where do you draw the line? Right, is where I get what you're saying though, because like I understand where it comes from. And two, like I'm no stranger to playing like games where you grind a ton, right? Like classic WoW. I came up through that. I played games like Aeon, like Korean MMO, that it's just incredibly grind intensive. The artifacts or like the gear sets and everything, and the upgrades, and then not to mention the crafting is very, very similar. But in that game, you can fail a million times to get your stuff, but the currency is all in-game currency. So you just have to continue doing dungeons or clearing mobs, whatever, and you're gonna just refill that extremely fast. So like it's just an annoyance in that type of game. But for here, there's a real world consequence, right? So I get what you're saying.
Right, yeah, because it's just one of those things. Because I play a similar game that's sort of like medieval times in a sense, and but when it comes to getting the gear, all I'm really doing is just I'm still spending like what they call gold to get the gear, and then to fuse the gear. Like I have to get other items to fuse into this one bigger item, right? I'm wasting his gold, but at this point in time, when I get it, it's done. It's like there's no more other complications. It's like it's done. There is nothing else more I can do to this. Like I get it over with, finito. But this is like you're wasting silver, you're wasting more silver, you're wasting more silver. God forbid if you miss out and then you're tanking, right? Or I've seen other players amongst the Hell's Hades challenge where they sort of be a little technical, right? They'd be like, oh, this don't stop it there. Like, move it up to 13, move it up to 14, move it up to 15, just to get that little extra boost. Like they let you tweak because you can still get the points because, of course, they're showing you that the max is this, but from where you are to the max, there's a little bit extra bump of points you can get if you tweak the main stat. So it's like, it's just certain things like that, right? Because no one's not really telling you, or you're not noticing these things until you actually pay attention. But it's one of the more very tough things about the game is like, because that will literally strip you down so fast to the point you ask yourself, what did I really just spend here? Like
and as a beginner, when that first time that you become silver poor, like I still remember, I let it happen to myself all the time. Right. Still to this point where I lose track. I'm like, oh, I got like 23 million gold silver here. I have a ton of artifacts I have to roll up anyways, and I barely get through a third of my cleanse before I'm out of silver. Right. And I'm like, okay, and so like I got to go dump a bunch of energy in Spider's dungeon, but like still it sneaks up on you. And as a beginner, if you haven't set up to a point where you can do some good effective silver farming, it can be really annoying.
Right, because what I was thinking about, because I remember something, but okay, I can't remember it. But one thing's for sure, right? There it is. Because one of the newest things that Raid has done, right, towards the beginning of the game, they'll give you 7 million within the couple of days that you log in, right, into the game, of course, and that's to quote unquote, make it at ease. I wish it was 10 million, but they gave you 7. That's what they're going to give you for all you new players out there that play the game. And, pretty nice. Decent idea. Nothing, out of pocket. But when you look at that, it's like early on, I mean, it's pretty nice early on to get 7 mil because you're not really trying to boost up too much gear. And that's the time you're not going to get a lot of great gear anyways, right? And as long as you make all the right investments and, the right buys, you're not kill shotting a lot of the silver anyways either. At that point, so yeah,
exactly. It's also a nice little boost, but like, I wish there was a better way to make silver. Even though, like, it's funny to say because it's only a beginner player's problem. Like, because we know, like, once you start being able to clear Spider's Den 10, you can literally farm a ton. But at the end, you're still investing a ton of energy. Just to get a bunch of silver, right? So,
right, but at the same time,
another mechanic or something would be nice.
Make the silver as well, so it's like, But all right, let's keep going.
Yeah,
I don't recommend purchasing anything unless it has perfect stats. If there's flat stats or it could roll poorly, don't buy it. It's way too overpriced. But if you find a pair of 6-star speed boots with perfect substats, Or you find a legendary piece with substat speed. Actually, this would be a buy. This would be a purchase for a lot of people. 6-star.
I would buy it.
Could roll double speed, defense percent in region. That could be a buy. 1.3 million is ludicrous. It is absolutely ridiculous, insane.
And that's another thing. Like, yeah, because that's another thing. Like, just real quick, guys, right? How do Player even proves to you that this gear is even that much cost effective? And if that's the case, if I sit here and raid, let's say hypothetically, right? This is like 1.3. So that means if I sit here and raid the same exact gear in Fire Knight and I choose to sell it, is it going to be worth almost 500K? Not even. So the fact that they can sit here and tell you, oh, when you sell the gear, when you get it, is like diminished to like almost a lot of percentage. I can't even do the math right now because there's no way I'm doing the math right now in my head. But if this is naturally going to be sold around maybe 50K at best, maybe 60 to be nice, and this is 1.3, that's almost like half, not even half. That's even more than half of the percentage of you even getting this gear to even buy it. So that's even insanity to sit here and say, oh, well, we put this in the market for you. It's worth 1.3 million. How? It's like buying a car. It's like a car is worth this much, but the moment you buy it off the lot, you return it, boom, you're getting hit with the, oh, you're taking less money. You're muted, man.
Sorry, my dogs were going crazy there. But yeah, it's a good analogy, the car, because just like a brand new car, it's ridiculously overpriced. And as soon as you take it off the lot, it's depreciated. So as soon as you buy that, you realize 1.3 million for something that's worth 200,000 silver.
Right.
You know, you're like, oh, that hurts. But if it rolls perfect, you know what I mean? Like, I get it though, too. Like, it's annoying, but it is a very niche way to get some good artifacts if you're in a pinch. But the traditional way of like grinding out the gear is still better than relying on that.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's crazy.
Should be 500. This should be way cheaper. Player, adjust the prices, please. But anyway, if you have legendary speed substats on gear in the market, I have been purchasing those. I think that I made one purchase in there this morning. Let me just check. Substat speed, 6-star legendary. It must be this one. Okay. These are attack percentage gloves. I know that I am not going to use the attack percentage part. However, I roll these speed substats. This is how I get good gear right here. Okay. We didn't hit there, but sometimes this turns into a triple or a quad roll. That's what I'm talking about, testing your gear. The offset pieces that you get from farming the dungeons are critical to your success in this game. More on that later. So check your market. If you have a lot of silver, maybe you can make some purchases here. If not, the only thing you should be buying here is mystery shards and the occasional uncommon, if you're short on champions for champion training. The next thing that I want to mention is something that everybody probably knows, but there are some new players or some players who have undervalued the lethal set. I know that I undervalue the lethal set.
Who unvalues the lethal set?
I don't know. Super experience. I don't know. I can't talk to that. But for me, I'm like, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, yeah, I need that. So I don't know.
How do you unvalue that?
That's
like, don't get me wrong, right? If you getting like, if you 2-piece, like, because think about it, right? You get lethal 4-piece, ignore 25% of the enemy's defense. You get 10+% crit rate. Then if you add maybe another crit rate, will get you another 12, which that gives you 22, or maybe even crit damage or whatever other set. Like, why? How is that? How do people think?
That sounds like backwards Canadian logic to me, man. That's ridiculous.
Oh, that's so insane.
That is.
But that's mainly because I know my Savage gear is just that much better. I have farmed a lot of Fire Knight, and I know my Savage gear is that much better. You should be saving all of your charms to craft your lethal. Now, there's other good sets to be able to craft in here, but that's the number one set. You want to save all of your best crafting materials for your lethal gear. It's all of your damage dealers, all of them should be in Savage, Lethal, Merciless, whatever new damage set they come out with, they should be in some type of set ignoring the defense of the enemies. You should be crafting and cleaning out your forge during clan versus clan. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, you should be selling your 5-star gear. Okay. You should, maybe I'll link the gear levels video for you to watch after this. It's one of the best videos I've ever made, in my opinion. So if you want to see that, I'll link that at the end. It's super, super important. I'm going to craft all of this today for CVC. And I'm going to look and see if I get any good new pieces to make another good lethal set. I'm still missing some things, which means you're probably missing some things. Anytime I'm like, I need to do this, I need to do that, then I just know I need to say to myself, other people out there need to hear this today as well. Now, I would say your Instinct gear, which is the Forge Pass right now, insanely good. This is the reason.
You know, it's so funny. A lot of people actually say Instinct is trash.
Really?
They consider it trash. And I'm like, how?
It's got speed and ignores defense.
Right. So I'm like, because if you just do simple Savage and speed, it's like, yeah, you're getting the 5% extra, but imagine you get the same speed, you're getting slightly less under, and then you get Cruel. I mean, and plus Cruel is like what? Ignore 5 and then plus attacks? All right, what are you talking about?
Something like that.
Yeah, so it's so crazy because I heard people consider that it's not that great, and I'm like, huh? Like, I mean, granted, don't get me wrong. Yeah, on the TAD list of like where they have the artifacts, they say it's like a B rank, which is crazy for the fact that this is the same 12% as far as speed and the same 12% as far as Divine Life, but then you're ignoring 20%, but they have it at B, and I'm like, how? Why is it not at C? I mean, why is it not at like A or, you know, S tiers? Like, it's crazy. But, you know, the small things people consider things. It's like, right, exactly. Like, think about this, right? Cruel is a 2-piece set that you get from Demon Lord. They rate that in S tier gear, and that's a attack plus 15% and ignore 5% of enemies' defense. So I'm like, wait a minute, that's S tier, instant, is it?
Yeah, that's true.
But I do understand, right? Because you have to get it from the Forge Pass. And because you cannot collectively gain it passively, other than going through that and then possibly paying for the pass, then it's like, I get that part. But it's like, doesn't mean it's bad. It just means like the accessibility is just trash. But to rate it to B is just insane.
Because it is super strong.
Yeah.
Reason why my early game accounts do so well, because I have Instinct so early on, that's much better than the Savage gear would be. It takes a long time for your Savage and Lethal gear to catch up to the Instinct set, especially if you're buying the Forge Pass, which if you make any purchases in the game, the Forge Pass should be at the very top of your list. Bolster, Defiant, Righteous Slayer, all of the Forge Pass sets are very good. And of course, you need to be forging your perception. Okay. Need to be forging your perception. I am low on Magisteel, so I need.
And that is another piece of work I hate about this game. The Magisteel problem. Because, right, and this is another thing, right? Magisteel is only gainable through Arena. After that, there is no way to get Magisteel other than the Forge Patch, which gives you a nice decency and a lonesome if you do the like the quest to get them. So if you do all 4 of the quests, that's like 200 a piece of Magisteel, and then of course anything else from the tracker also. And you know that's tough, right? It's like it's another way to force players to consider doing it. And people already hate Arena.
So yeah, it's some people do. Some people really like it though. I'm kind of a mixed bag.
I like Arena, but it's like the thing is, I just wish the Magisteel was a little bit more better than what they're giving out. So like, okay, think about it, right? Like, what? Like Magisteel at like the top rank is like what? 8 Magisteels per battle that you win. So that means what? If you complete 10 battles, out of the match and then get you match. So that's like 80 match steal. What is that?
Not a lot. I know they want to try to like trickle feed us that stuff so that over time that we get a huge amount of it, but yeah, no, you should get more. Come on, like it's a free resource. Like we should just be swimming in it because it does. How does it affect us? Affect them? Make it so that they don't make more money. You know what I mean? It's an ineffective. Like it doesn't. Like it's a change that wouldn't hurt anything, and it would just make the player base happier.
So. And then you think about it, right? You're only waste, like for instance, forging gear is probably the best way to get silver in return, right? You can spend about, depending on what amount you're spending on, because let's say you're spending on the 3s and 4s, right? Just to crack them open. 10 of those it's like 10,000. You're going to make that back in no time when you sell all the gear at the end of the day. When you do the math, you get that back in perpetuity. So it's like, you look at that across the board in investments, you're going to get back the silver anyway. So this is the best way to build silver. But the problem is you can't get it if you don't have the match steal. You will get every other material in this game before you even have enough match steal. I'm match steal broke right now. And my gear is being stockpiled up because I don't have enough match steal. Why? Because I don't pay for the Forge Pass. And, that's just the sad labor that the sad position I'm stuck in. But hey, look, that's just where I'm at with this. Like, I shouldn't have to, kill myself just to get this. So eventually it's like, where does the fairness within the idea of getting a decent amount of match steal at an early advance, fit in? Because it's just sort of just hot trash.
Yeah. Because being left out of any resource in this game can feel really detrimental, and it can really get you down. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you run out of tokens to be able to farm the arena, and you can't get any more, and you feel like now I have to wait 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks before I can get through all this crafting. Right? So I hear you for sure.
Yeah, let's keep going.
To start trying to farm arena again. That's been a difficult thing since I completed my Great Hall. Now on to the key topic of the day. Hopefully you made it to this point in the video. Congratulations if you did. This is what you need to hear today. The dungeons have been trash talked. That's the best way to say it. The dungeons have been trash talked. But right now we have a 3x speed going on for Dragon. And I know that the majority of people do not have just like an extra amount of speed gear sitting in here. Like, do you have just an excess of double speed rolls that you can go put on whoever you want at any time? Most of you don't. And I'm calling you out with my hot take today. Just go farm more Dragon. Like, if you just need more speed in this game, the speed set is the way to go. And for me, I am looking for triple or quad rolls because I don't have nearly enough. I have one sitting around, and that's because it's flat defense. And so it's not on somebody right now. But if I go to equipped, then you're going to see I have multiple triples. And I'm not trying to flex. I'm trying to tell you that this is one of the best ways to progress your account is farming the speed set in Dragon. Now, you're going to get some other sets as well, and that's very good, okay? When you are farming your Ice Golem, please farm Ice Golem. If you're trying to progress in mainly Hydra, you need the Curse set and you need Provoke set. When I log on for takeovers, sometimes we don't even have one full set of either of them. Please farm Ice Golem. And then, of course, there's the Savage Gear. It's like the bread and butter of your account in terms of damage dealers. And, like, you want speed and crit stats sitting around on these pieces. So farming that is great. Additionally, you will get just offset pieces that have a high amount of speed. Let's go look at that right now. If I hide the set filters, okay, that doesn't count. That's a forge. Here's a good example. These crit damage set gauntlets, quad speed. I have moved these gauntlets around so many times on so many people, and I will continue to do so. They have just been so clutch. The only reason...
Hey, real quick, I want to just put this out there, right? The one thing I find
huh? I'd kill to have artifacts like that. I don't know. I get what he's saying, but it's not easy to get like that, man. I can't get like I'm trying, honestly, bro. Like I have a ton of speed.
This far. I would not have gone this far because let me tell you why. Because when you look at the glove, it's flat HP. Like what? Like, I don't even care for that. I would have thrown that away, even if it did have speed in the substats. But I do understand why he's doing it, and he's doing it because, of course, like all people will say, speed is king, right? Speed is king in raid. But it's like it's flat HP gloves. It's not even HP percentage, and you're keeping that? You're wild, man.
Yeah, it's the no, but it's a quad speed roll, right? It's just a standard item to shoehorn in. But the thing is that you only have that luxury to shoehorn a piece in like that when the rest of the items that you're equipping are perfect. You know what I mean? Like where literally the helm, like the other 5 pieces are perfect substats, and they're, you know what I mean, or near perfect in compare, you know what I mean, and they're part of a set. And you just need gloves, you know what I mean? And you just need to hit that speed like number, right? Outside of that, like, but if you try to incorporate that into like my account, I could put those on somewhere, but like it's not going to have the effect for my beginner account. Like I have a ton of artifacts that I've triple rolled, quad rolled into different stats that are really, really good, but it's in the like random set, the frost set or this and that, and it just doesn't do anything. Like it's nice to hit stats and stats in certain spots, but there's a point once you start like leaving the early game where you can't rely on that, and you have to focus on getting gear that's mostly perfect stats, and he's already done that, and that takes months or years to get to where you just have to constantly be forging gear and constantly be upgrading and cleansing, and when they're not good you just have to bite the bullet and sell them and continue to do that process until eventually you have 15 sets of glove with semi-perfect or perfect stats. But you know what, I don't even have I honestly don't think I have a full set of perfect stats for anything. Like I honestly don't think I have a perfect stat item per se, like quad roll, freaking all for perfect substats for a nuker on a weapon. You know what I mean? I have not. I know the closest I've gotten based on where I'm in the game is probably like 80%, and that's probably an overestimation of how close I've gotten to a perfect item. And then again, that's probably a 5-star, probably not even a 6-star. So I'm still even further behind than I even give myself credit. So, it's nice to say, but like, man, I'm so far ahead of being able to think the way that he's talking about that. Like, I can see how he can lose some people for sure.
No, yeah. I mean, look, it's very interesting overall. But yeah, it's very interesting. Shoot, let's keep going.
Mm-hmm.
That I was able to find these is because I roll those speeds down here and actually go and where's the rank and rarity? If I go legendary and mythical, 6-star only, and I scroll all the way down to the bottom, I'm gonna find these pieces to be rolled. Unrolled gear, but these are all going to be rolled for me, and I'm gonna see if I hit the... Where'd it go? It's a sell. Where is this piece of gear? Did it go like all the way the heck up the list? Anyway, where it went. Where it went. I guess it hit speed, so it's going to be like partially up here.
Oh, that's dummy. That's not good. Oh, looks like Mr. I didn't even notice that. I was sitting here trying to get.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, some technical difficulties. I think my Wi-Fi.
There we go.
Yeah, hold on, give me a moment. Ew. Oh my god.
I was just testing that theory, looking at my market to see. I'm like, man, I got 2 5-star items in here, and they're both hot garbage. One is an accuracy set, but it's just got flat.
And then I'm gonna have to like figure out. Okay, it's right here. So I'm gonna go sell this. Okay, I'm gonna go sell this. I need to find that other one and sell that. Maybe it's easier without the set filters to just look, because you could just see the ones that are unrolled. Was it this one? Oh, perfect. I'm so glad I was able to find it. Okay. But then here, like I have another one, right? I'm going to go and I'm going to roll every single one of these. And yes, the majority of them do not hit. But sometimes you just get those crit damage gloves, not those ones, these ones, and you get that quad speed roll. But you have to farm for it, and you have to test those rolls. If you hear nothing from me today, please just go farm the speed gear this weekend or this week while it's active in Dragon. Please go do it. It will help your account very much so. Go farm that. And, go just double down on farming dungeons. I know that I am going to keep farming the dungeons. I hope you will as well. And last but not least, I know it is super tough with the accessories. I'm going to clean out my accessories today, but I have even been farming more spider so that I can try to find banners that get me double, triple speed rolls. Mostly not double, but triple. But like this one, defense percent with the speed. If this hits speed or defense, it did not. So that's probably a sell for me. But like if that had hit speed or defense, like that's keepable. For most people, that's a great banner. And I think that, actually, I don't know. I might need that for Harima. My banners are pretty bad in Shadowkin. So I think that you should double down on farming the dungeons. I think you should double down. And during CVC is a great time to do that. Hopefully, you will let me know your opinion on my hot take in the comments below. Is this just common knowledge? Are you farming this already? Did I change your mind? Like, where do you stand? Let me know, and I'll see you guys later on.
So yeah, I mean, look, great video. Like his take. Definitely, man. I think what his take is pretty much very good, because I think definitely for sure, right? When you look at some of the gear is like, if you consider just the thought process of some of the gear out there, right? Like for instance, like you said before, speed, right? If speed sets out there and it's 3x, right? Getting speed in the substats within the set and then using the actual set to boost yourself and higher margins to have faster speed is just big, right? Even if it's like crit rate or crit damage, it's the same things. Like, if you get crit rate and then you get crit rate in the actual set overall within the gear, then it's like it boosts how fast you can get to 100% of crit rate or even crit damage, getting you a large amount of more portion to getting crit damage in your builds for your damage dealers, etc., depending on those that give you the stat boost for those type of things. So I guess it just really all depends on what are you looking at and how are you looking at it based upon certain gears. It's like some of them are definitely useless. Automatic sells, you don't really care because they don't feed you really nothing at all. And then others, on the other hand, they're just worth you keeping because they add a little extra boost if you apply yourself to the boost. So,
yeah, I think it's a W take as well, especially if but you just got to also let it as a beginner and you feel like it's unattainable. Just, remember that you are going to get to that spot, and it is going to make sense, and you are going to feel the same as, or very similar when you get to that spot. But yeah, W take. Yeah, we can move on from that too now. Awesome video, like I was saying. Go check out MTGJedi's channel, and yeah, check out that video for if you guys want to watch it uninterrupted. But what's the next topic? I think it's the new 10.4 patch, right?
Yep, the new 10.4, the 1040 patch. Yeah,
1040, 10.4.
Yeah,
10.40, 1040, 10.4.
Right.
So more quality of lights, a little more tweaking after that last update, the 10.30. So yeah,
me bringing this up a little closer so everyone can see it. So pretty much, the first thing is Raid Community Week. They're pretty much bringing in with the launch of the new updates, and one of the biggest one is the new rewards calendar. So for those that have taken a look or not have seen this yet, pretty much this is the brand new daily login program. Meaning the same way how we have the Alice's, the Lokis, the Chronolor Adeline, and everything else of that, for as much as we have, this is the new way of getting the new login, which is crazy because now we already have a new login and we just got done with the Alice. Like, Lord have mercy. But this is different, right? This is extremely different because now this is all dependent on you logging into the game every day and then clicking on it and getting the reward. And if you don't, then you miss out on the reward entirely, other than the souls, because pretty much what it said here, right, as we know about the new legendary, which is Iodex Art Tour. He's going to be a support-based champion, new legendary support. We don't know what affinity he is, but he's definitely something very interesting. Hopefully, because one thing that they haven't given this game yet, as far as a reward champion, is like a legendary void. It would be very interesting if they gave us a legendary void.
Well, we did get the Gallic, but you have to do for a brand new account. You get the Supreme Gallic, but that doesn't count.
Well, yeah,
but it'd be nice if we got a legendary void for free. That'd be incredible.
Yeah, because that would just be nice, right? You're not really like prone to anything. None of your debuffs can be blocked per se, as long as you have the requirements to land it and everything. But yeah, so let me see here, because they said something here, right? Login a raid on the date to claim the associated rewards, because if you miss them, you lose them. There are just 2 exceptions. Several slots contain champion fragments of the new legendary, created exclusively for the community weeks. Even if you miss the days when those slots were open, you can claim Art Tour's fragments before the end of the community week.
That's good. That's actually, so at least you don't miss out of the fragments. So you're still that's
right,
good.
But you'll miss out of the rewards. And the thing is, right, we have, so this is pretty much up to like 25 days in total, because of course the last number is 25, right? If this is the new login, the new way of getting the new login champion, right? Then I have to ask myself one question: do we get the 5-star soul for this champion like we have for others? Is this the best way to getting the resources better in the game versus going through the hurdles of going through the game, beating up certain areas just to get the flag points every single day versus just logging in and getting them? Because now that's the question, right? Are the souls in the calendar? And if they are, God forbid if anyone missed them, you're screwed. Because let's say you missed the 2-day soul, right? And then guess what? The next souls are incomplete souls. They're split souls. So that means you're pretty much screwed if you were to miss the days for the first 2 stars, the 3s, the 4s, and the 5s that you end up getting. They're useless to you.
So it could be hopeful. Maybe it's not included there. Maybe it'll just come within its own event. We've yet to see how it plays out, but so that's definitely something that's got you worried for sure. The thing that really bugs me about it is at the very end with the relic. Once you complete it, we get to vote on on which relic we get. At first I wasn't too worried about that. I was like, what? It's probably, the community is probably better at picking which one I should get. So I should probably just let that. But the more I think about it, it's like, man, just let me have the choice. Just at the very end, it pops up, you've completed the challenge or the calendar, and here are your 4 choices. And that's it. And now I don't want to wait for the community to choose. What if for some reason I want a different one or whatever, and then which means that the other ones are going to be forever lost if we don't vote on the specific one, and then 6 months later we find out that the actual best one, the best relic out of the set would have been one that we didn't even vote for. You know what I mean? Like that would be weird. But yeah, that's the one thing that just, like, the more it sits with me, the more I don't like it. I mean, weird.
Honestly, I don't like it either. I think everyone should be able to choose which one they want to choose and then walk away with that one they want. I don't think so. We need an overall choice. Like, oh, everyone needs to pick this one, and this goes right here, because everyone needs something different. So I don't know what's the idea wrapped around this overall, but it's like, if I need
community engagement,
a submission, or someone needs which one of the legendary relics, it's like that's the one they need for their particular champion. Like, why should I have to share one relic with everybody else because the overall person chose this relic? I may not need this relic right now. What's the point of me getting it? And then to even make it further a point, right? Look at the sockets. Like, most people, depending on where you are when it comes to Chimera, you don't even have the sockets to even guarantee a good way of using the relic.
But they're still trying, and I guess it's a step in the right direction. Hopefully it'll get refined the more we get through it and the more feedback that they get, because the new owners of Plarium, or whatever, the new raid owners, they're definitely focused on growing and improving the game, and they're trying stuff, so that's good. Whether it's going to be well received or well done is another thing, but I think I still think that I like the game. I'm not going to be stopping playing the game anytime soon, but at the same time, I'm optimistic that they are willing to make those changes. Sometimes there's other games that I play, like Dead by Daylight, for example, where we've spent, like, I think they're on year 9 or 10 or whatever it is, and they're finally getting some quality of life changes and like some pausing to upgrades and stuff like that, which is what the community has been like demanding for years now, and they're finally getting around to it. Like, at least Plarium is like listening and being like, they're trying to add new content. They're trying to do things that are trying to engage the community and different players based on where they're at, the beginning all the way to end game players, right? So I like what they're doing. I'm optimistic with it. I'm excited for 2025, which is good, which might, maybe we can transition into, the next topic, which is Raid worth playing in 2025, right?
Right, we're gonna get to that. A little bit more into this thing, right? So Plarium is going to be adding a whole new tournament, which is Gear Ascension Tournament, right? So this is going to be invited, where this is accessible to all players level 38 and plus. I don't know why they have to put a level on it, but I guess it's because it's dealing with Sand Devil and also Phantom Shogun. So pretty much you have to get the oils and the abstract as much as possible to then use them on your gear to make points, which honestly is just an atrocious idea, because personally what that tells me is, you're pretty much telling us, you want people to start pushing that a little bit more, which reality is they know that there's no value into that, because let's be honest, it's just trash to certain degrees. And B, I mean, honestly, I say it like this, right? It's like, I just find it funny how they're pushing this now, but we still can't get an event or some type of event where it still adds the resources of getting your masteries. Like, they're still lowering that down. It's like masteries in an event is still like lukewarm. It's not even important, and yet there's no fast-paced way to get the scrolls quick enough, because it's still a grind and it's still like a heavy hemorrhage of energy you're wasting. Like anything else.
It's so much, dude.
Yeah.
You have to be, and then if not, you have to be extremely diligent or efficient with the gems, the free gems that you get through all the quests, missions, completing campaigns. so that you're getting the most out of those gems. So you might even, you know what I mean, like use the energy to get those masteries done. Yeah, that's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I mean, but at least it's just to get the oils in the extract. It's not like you have to actually use them to equip the gear, and then of course, you know, which gains you more points. Maybe it is, I don't know. But one thing's for sure is it's, I don't really look at it as somewhat of an importance. I mean, people already got to farm Sand Devil anyways, because if you want to get your Prism Shard, right? And that still takes a lot of energy to do, which is just insanity. But it is what it is. I mean, for you, right? I don't know if you ever played any of these two modes, but which of the two modes seem easier to you? Because right now, based upon just understanding skills of both of these two guys, it looks like that the Phantom Shogun is probably more easier, because the Phantom Shogun skill is all dependent on if your champion even has stars, you know, ascended stars, where if you're able to have like what I'm thinking about, if you end up having, you know, the extra additive like the Phantom Touch or whatever like that, where you get your souls, right? And the souls can help lower the count of the Phantom Shogun strength overall. So, you know, it's pretty interesting.
I haven't got too much into those extra dungeons. Like I've done a couple of them. I think I'm only at like stage 4 or 5 of Phantom and like Sand Devil. Like it's just the last couple times I went in there, my teams got wrecked, and I just wasn't able to do it. So I really don't have a preference or as much experience to really give a solid opinion on which one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like you have to be down, because I'm not that down deep in it either. Like I don't really focus too much on it. Like I stay away from it, because ever since I did Sand Devil, it was just brutal. Because like after the first time I did a few Prism Shards, I was like, man, I'm kill shotting my energy for just one shard. Like, hell no, I'm not doing it again.
Yeah, and that mechanic where it like kills everybody, like, oh man, and I have struggled. Phantom or Sand Devil. I probably feel like Phantom is probably harder actually for the roster that I have. So I'd probably lean towards Sand Devil.
Okay. Yeah.
Even though it seems it's harder, but I don't know.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next one real quick. The Token Trader Champion rotation, right? So Noble and Lonicus are going to be removed, and now we're going to get Chellin the Lucky and then Jinzen, right? Chellin the Lucky, if you don't need him, of course, you can empower Ronda with him. And then if you get Jensen's a decent, solid champion that, you know, is able to boost his own turn meter while also having the ability to ignore unkillable and shields, and has a powerful decreased defense. So pretty solid 2 champions. But this does nothing overall if no one's not able to get them, because of course, to even get these token coins for the Token Trader, you have to sacrifice champions. You have to sacrifice legendary champions and higher just to get the coins.
I was like, I don't even have a single one yet. I haven't even learned how to get that to work. That's a total end game sort of or late game thing.
It pretty much is, and that's why I'm like, it's very like sad that this idea is just like they never really change it. And the thing is like the only way you get this is like if you're a spender and you're buying and you're getting so much legendaries to the point is like, okay, well, I'll need them to empower it. I don't need them as an extra plus, like an extra copy. So it's like, okay, well, time to feed this to the trader. It's like by the time you get there, it'll be crazily too far in between. So there's definitely need to be a rework for this. And my idea for the Token Trader rework would be make it accessible to buy the actual token coins. Just make it accessible, like literally. Neither if it's in the clan shop where, okay, you get Yannicka, right? You get the fragments for Yannicka. After Yannicka is done, that can be the new replacement, right? Getting the token coins. You buy a couple of coins, then you save stockpile, right? Or neither under the Yukaro, another way to save and stockpile. Okay. Or like the legendary champion fragments, like for instance, what's what I'm thinking about?
The fire dude.
Yeah. I forgot his name.
Oh my god, I have
the demon spawn. Hold on, let me see. Let me find them. Yeah, Drexstar. So once Drexstar is done, right? Again, replace him with the token trader coins. Trade your gold bars for that. Like, just find a way for people to farm it. Have them in events where people can farm the token coins and then be able to convert it to actually buy a legendary. Why is that so freaking hard? But no, sacrifice a freaking copy of a legendary that you don't want, and then that's going to be the way you get it. That's stupid. No one will never do that.
Doesn't seem worth it at all. I don't know, to me, but when you're in end game or late game, it makes sense, I guess, and you got all that abundance of stuff you got tons of duplicates and you're mostly mythical, like we saw in Jedi's roster there, then I guess it would make sense. But yeah, for me, I'm like, what the heck? No.
Yeah, so it's just very stupid. Like, the idea of talking about you're switching legendaries out of them. Like, let's be real. What is the percentile of people that actually bought from there the time you actually put this into play? I guarantee you the percentage is low.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, come on now. No one's really not buying from that at all. So it just like the whole new update, who cares? And then, of course, the quality of life miscellaneous. Siege victory conditions are being added, and things of that nature as far as defense. I really don't care too much for Siege, but I know me and my team were sort of on the move to consider starting it, but yeah, really don't get too much of a Siege. But I'll probably do a deeper dive just to understand multiple different positions in Siege and see like how this all goes down to where it benefits my team overall. But yeah. And then the next one, okay, this is what everyone's been waiting for, right? You being able to sell gear from your inbox, the gear upgrade tab, and crafting 10x tab from the forge. And this is what everyone's been waiting for, and I'm glad they finally added that into the game. So definitely this will be very prominent, right? Because at that point in time, I can literally look at the gear, be questionable if I can upgrade it right then and there, and then question if I'm willing to sell it before I even allow to even keep it or just throw it automatically. So that is just better upgrade overall. That is definitely a dub right there for Raid for putting that into the game. Big one for sure. Also, they're talking about a couple of relic focus improvements will go live. Brief relic lore will become available. Who the freak cares about a relic lore? Who cares?
Yeah. With some more flames.
Relic for socket. I mean, this is a small little thing, but this doesn't really matter. More avatar frames. Who cares?
The market button and the swap.
Like, who cares? Like,
you know what though? I have accidentally refreshed so many times and wasted like 5 gems. So I get why people complain about this, but
I don't see how.
It's just our own fault. But like
I do not see how people even do that. Like,
I've done it just because you're like, it's just.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but
maybe on tablet or something.
Like, how
more annoying.
Get involved. Just don't see it. But it's just so crazy. It's just so crazy. Like I just look at it and be like, oh, people actually care about that. Okay, interesting. As far as the champions, I mean, of course, they did some rebalance to both Ashnar, Dragon Soul, and on both sides of his skills, and of course, Warmlord, the Frost King. So pretty much most of you guys seen videos of this already, so I'm not gonna really speak it in this video. We'll be here for a little bit more longer than we do just to break down these skills. And I doubt almost any of us really have it, but definitely, I mean, I'll consider talking about this in a different video, but right now I'm not even looking at this at all. Like, I don't see it as important. But going on from there, let's close that out. But let's talk about it, right? Let's make this the last piece of conversation. Well, let's go on to the next one. And yeah, like you said earlier, right? Is Raid Shadow Legends worth playing in 2025? What's your opinions?
Straight up, yes. I think the biggest misconception that people get from Raid is that it's a resource management game disguised as a gacha game. And because I see like Boozer, Jedi, Nub Raids, a lot of these guys will do their free-to-play challenges or their free-to-play like series, and they're not spending any money, and they are able to progress so much faster on their accounts than I am on my main. And so to me, it's a thing of being efficient and managing your resources properly, and knowing what you should be doing at all times throughout the game, and learning. It's something that you have to do a bunch of times. You have to make an account to get to where you're progressed to Ultra Nightmare and you're in end game, for you to be able to speed run the early game and all this fun stuff like they're able to do. But I think I have a lot of fun when it comes to games that are resource management games, upgrading, leveling. It's just very similar, part of my past, part of my childhood, I guess you could say, because I'm from that generation where a lot of these mechanics were just part of a lot of the board games, the games in general, like original computer games that we played, and to see, so it's familiar and I enjoy it, and it's a good challenge to keep your keep some good balance in if you're going to spend or not, or just it's a good challenge to see if you can do it. Like, can you get a good account with minimal or no spending? I don't know. I really like the game. There's just so much aspects of the game, and they keep introducing stuff, so I think it's worth it. The new owners are looking to make some big strides and looking to make some big impact in this game as well as in the gaming industry. So I think it is worth it, and I'm excited for how this game evolves.
Right. So for me, right, is Raid Shadow Legends worth playing in 2025? Honestly, I say yes. And here's the reason why. Before Raid, I was playing another game, right? It was a browser game, right, that I was playing. And when I was playing this browser game, I was literally playing this every day, literally like every morning, start the game, everything else, all until before a reset comes involved. Like, I was making sure I did everything in this game. This playing Raid took me away from that game. Why? Because I was just way more invested here. The atmosphere of knowing that I never had to pay in this game was the main thing. I think the toughest thing about this game, though, is not really the quantity of the fact of should you pay or not, but the biggest part of the game is there's too much champions to look at and question if they're good or not. And that's one thing I've learned about a lot of people that have talked about this game in passing is there's so much champions in this game to even question if they're good or not, or how good they are, or how to use them is the questionnaire factor, versus a game that has a little bit of champions, not too far in between, and you know how to set them all up to synergize real quickly, so you know if they're worth investing in fast or not. However it is, you're able and quicker to assess a champion with lower tier of champions or heroes. And in this game, there's so much of it to the point it's so overkill, because to find the right champion to even partner up with this champion to make the skills work in cohesion is just like it's a lot. Especially even if you get one partner champion, but then it's like, okay, the chance you get the next partner champion will be way gone. And by the time you do get the partner champion, guess what? You don't even need him, because you got a champion that does exactly what it does already, other than faction wars, give or take. But then 9 times out of 10, you maybe don't get faction wars team, your team's already locked. Well, screw it. So, but for me though, going back to it, like, is this worth it? I think it is, because again, I had to pay in that game eventually. Here, I looked at this and say to myself, I never had to consider paying to a long term, right? Eventually I did. I made one payment, like $10 to get the gem pack. But other than that, I ultimately never had to see myself pay this game that much at all, ever. It's like literally, my first account was literally the gem pack, $10. My second account was $19 or $20, however it is, because I had the return pass on, and I had a chance to buy Elva, and I made that shot. So, that was just the main two payments that I made overall in this game. One in one account, one in the other, right? But other than that, I've ultimately played this game free to play clean. Like, just literally play free to play clean. And, I had to pick and choose where I had to invest my time in. It's like, there's days I may not fight for a lot of the tournaments. I may not do it a lot. And I just be like, screw it. I may just focus on champions or just focus on building other champions just to feed them and do that stuff, or I gotta pick and choose because here's an analogy that I'll make right about Raid. Raid is like a business, right? Your account, when you go into Raid and you get into this field, right? Your account is a business. You have to make certain investments, right? You have to have a certain investment, have a certain strategy plan, everything to go about your account overall. And parts of it is going to be making you pay. Other parts of it is just the grind, and then certain resource of understanding what, like doing certain readings and everything like that, just to understand the champions you have, how important they are, where you're at in the moment of the game, and everything else of that nature, and then how far you go. Because granted, most people will more likely pay this game later on. Like if they ever consider it, based upon where their account is, more likely than not, you more likely paid until like maybe mid game. Like if you because when you look at Hell's Haiti and everybody right doing the free to play challenge, Hell's Haiti got like Arbiter in like what, in a month?
Yeah,
like, this is insanity.
They know how to be extremely efficient, and that only comes from being able to bring an account, multiple accounts. Now these guys have multiple accounts into late game and even end game.
I think there's only one. I think each of them have. Like the only way they have another account is like the test server.
But they give away but they give away their challenge accounts, right? And their challenge accounts get fucking pardon my language. Yeah. Their challenge accounts get really high. They're like Hell Hades in today's video when he was talking about how the new mini game, how it's awesome, all this free gear and stuff, and it's awesome for his Hell Hades account. And it's like, and he's talking about like, 3 keying or 2 keying Ultra Nightmare. You know what I mean? And how I'm like, holy crap, like he's just so far in the game and it's been less than 3 months. Right. So
and that's why I'm like, it's crazy. Insane. But the thing is, think about it, right? In his account for quote unquote his business, what did he mostly invest in? Time, because they're going crazy. They're on that thing 24/7. Literally constantly grinding that game
on his phone. Yeah, he's always got his phone going. He's always doing something. He says he's always trying to get that keep that energy regen maxed out.
Right. So it's like just to sit there and look at that. There's like the most simple currency, aka your time, is the main ordeal of getting deep in this game, and just knowing what champions are a yes and what champions are a no, and then avoiding those pitfalls as you constantly investing in what you're doing amongst this account and your account in the game of Raid. So just understanding that is like, because again, looking at it from my experience, when I started this, right, I started this game with no knowledge whatsoever. I didn't look at no videos. I didn't look at no content creators, not a damn thing. By the time I end up starting to look at content creators in the game, and start looking at things like that and understanding why certain champions are what they are, why this one's up, why this one's down, and everything else in between. I'm like, I look at all my champions, I'd be like, I've been harvesting trash. But the thing is, the greatest thing ever in most things was as much as I was harvesting trash, I was able to convert them to food. So it's like the sooner the better that I convert them to being, 5-star or 4-star, 5-star chickens for other champions. I was like, hey, adios, amigos. It's like I got them out of there quick. Like, yep, feed them up. And then I got to a team and I started learning very much. And it's like, okay, now certain champions I know I have to go get. Guess what? I was getting them literally to this day of my main account. Because I had 2 accounts at the time, right? Amongst me, once I started to really look at information for Raid. Mm-hmm. And when I compare and contrast my efforts of what I invested into my account as far as just time and knowing what I was doing in the game, one thing's for sure, my second account actually had a slighter, bigger jump than my first account, all because I was sort of being a little bit more technical, a little bit more, and I was being sort of conservative of trying to understand certain champions, so I was taking a little bit slow. But once I started to realize certain champions and certain involvements and how each champion works and how the affinities help out or downgrade their effectiveness, my second account looked a little bit more better than my first account at the time. And then now it's like, okay, now my first account looking better than my second account. So just understanding that there's a lot of pitfalls and mistakes. You may think a champion is great when you first read their skills, and you're thinking, "Oh, this is great skill," and it's like next thing you know, you're in the realizing, "Wait, what?" So technically, this can have a fail safe. I'm like, and it's like you wasted your time.
I can't tell you how many account takeovers I've seen Cobb make or other content creators make where people have leveled up Yaga the Insatiable. So, yeah, it's a total thing. What you don't know will hurt you in this game, and it will slow your journey down. And I kind of knew that going into the whole Hell Hades challenge. But you know what? I'm happy with the experience. I feel like the thing when I went into it is like, do your best in clan boss and just getting efficient at leveling 60s or making 5-star food champions. Because those two skills, if you can refine those a little bit more, that's going to actually pay dividends on your main account, right? So that's what I focused on. And as a result, my main account has gotten better through everything that I've learned, because where there'd be lessons that I've learned or mistakes that I've made on my Hell Hades challenge account that put me behind, that made me go, oh man, now I got to spend like another 1,000 or 2,000 energy to fix this. Where I wouldn't want to do it on that account, I'm willing to do it on my main account, right? So I invest the time on the main account to prevent those errors or to fix them. And as a result, now I'm starting to get, I feel like a stronger account because I'm finally able to, I'm so close, dude, to being able to do, to be able to 3-key Nightmare so I can finally get my Sacred Shards on farm. I feel like once I can consistently get Clan Boss to where I'm getting the top chest in Nightmare, I feel like that's where you can, like, if I can get to that and idle there and be able to consistently do that every single day, get through my faction wars, get through my clan bosses and clear that, over time I'll be able to add up, you know, these primals, these sacreds, these ancients, and I'll actually be able to do some of these, you know, I'll be actually progressed, like how we see some of these content creators where they're pulling like 7 or 8 or 9 sacreds, and I'm like, I would never spend that money. But when you realize, like, a lot of these sacreds come from Nightmare Clan Boss chests, right? So I'm excited to see the progression on that. So,
right, it's funny you mentioned that because I told you like a couple of weeks back, right? Like they had a progressive chance. I was trying to go for Armons. Guess what happens? I end up pulling the freaking guy. I had to put the shield go himself Wixwell, and I'm like, see, hey, look, I got him later, but you know what? I didn't need to waste all that just to get a fusion. I was so ecstatic because I'm like, okay, I got everything I need to make this whole Wixwell Clan Boss team. Now I'm like, all I have to do is just get the gear, set them up, get the other 2 champions gear, set them up, and everything else. I'm ready to go because
you got the pieces, and that's all that matters.
Right, because right now the team setup that I have that I'm trying to work up is pretty much Wixwell. I already have the Geo up to 60, fully mastered, fully geared out. Who else? I have Brogni. I'm planning on making him 60 next, or keeping that just test him out. And then of course I got the Valor in the Hellborn Sprite. So that already right there is ready to go. All I have to do is just put on the gear, and then it's like I'm ready to go. I want to see how this all plays out, and then see if I can hit what I need to hit. And it's just, again, barely had to waste any energy. Yes, it takes some luck. Yeah, it definitely takes casino luck. But look, you can play this game efficiently enough as long as you're making the right moves with the right champions, the right skill sets, and focusing on those every single time to progress in this game. And I've helped a lot of my teammates do the same thing. If you guys watching this video, you already know what time it is. You already know who I'm talking about. Y'all got the right pulls. I told y'all which champions to focus on. Next thing you know, y'all making big waves too. Because I'm telling you, we're almost close. Like, we're so close to like getting, like, as a team, getting like Nightmare, then getting Ultra Clan Boss, and it's almost there. So, being able to knock that out has been a great achievement for us as a team overall. So, it's just, great things, right? I'm just the only one lacking behind because I got to be the one to push it up because I have to literally build on this. But, I'm pretty much down on energy luck. But, yeah. But definitely, Raid is worth considering playing. I like the game. I never thought of, walking away from it. It's just something with patience, like anything else in the game. Like, you gotta have patience. It's a strategy-based game. And with strategy, there is patience and planning. And I think most people don't have a plan, to get in there. Because you know how they say, right? Everyone has a plan for a fight until you have to start punching somebody.
You get punched in the mouth. No, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, your plan, don't get me wrong, your plan at the start may be one thing, but as the game starts rolling and get more of those champions, now you have to really sit on that type of plan to really execute what you're trying to do. And that's why I sort of teach my teammates, like, hey, don't be so flabbergasted and thinking, because you got these legendaries, which legendary to build. Sometimes the legendaries are not that important. The epics are more important. The rares are more important. But you know what I'm saying? But there's other things more important into your account based upon what you're needing and where you're trying to grow. So it's like, you got to really focus on what you want out of the game, because, you can literally lose yourself building the wrong champion at the wrong time.
Oh, yeah. It totally, and I've paid the price that way too. When you were talking about how on your first account where you ended up leveling a bunch of stuff, not knowing that they were bad or good, and then you ended up having to use them as food. I made the same mistake because I had a level 50 syndrome really bad. So it wasn't a bunch of 60s that I made, but it was a bunch of 50s that I'd made. And then because I finished the fusion for Lady Noelle, I prioritized her probably too much ahead of other champions that I needed to be working on. So I totally get that, right? So, but all in all, regardless, those kind of mistakes in playing the game and learning through that process, I find fun. So that's why I think Raid is an awesome game to play in 2025.
Right. So let's get to
and you know what? On top of that, the best part about Raid 2 is that I can play it at the same time as playing other games. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many other turn-based games that I play, For the King on like Steam and stuff like that I can be playing at the same time. You know what I mean? I could even dumb it down and put up freaking Risk. You know what I mean? Like a browser game like Risk or something like that. And I can play both and not be held back. I could play chess. I could play I can even play Dead by Daylight, and as soon as I get moments where I can jump in a locker or something like that, I go in and set my account to go, or I restart the tournament that I'm working on or whatever it is. And yeah, so I it's a versatile game, and I think a lot of people, with good restraint, and so you're not dumping a ton of money, because that is still a side effect. Maybe younger kids and stuff like that may not understand that it is a waste. It could be, you could be dumping too much money or wasted, so be responsible with that. But other than that, I think it's an awesome game.
Right. Now let's go into the next part. Right, when to consider spending on Raid. This is for sure a good topic for us to talk about, because for a lot of people that are going to consider spending in this game, when is a good moment to start spending? And honestly, it really depends on what you're considering. I know a lot of people will say one of the best investments is the gem pack and then the energy pack, right? Gem pack's only $10. I think anyone can do that right then and there, especially if you're getting 2,150. So that clears up your gem mine for you. That clears up maybe even the first access of your sparring pit, if you worry about that first. Granted, you want to make sure you have masteries for your champion as well if you try it early on, right? But definitely gems, I think getting the gem pack, right, the 2,150 is an easy first day if you're brand new to the game and you're willing to spend. That's the easiest one. I think that's early in game, you would want to buy for, because it's only $10. And you're getting a lot of value out of that. That's the gem mine. That's the first set of masteries for your champion, maybe even 2 if you want. However, the mathematics go. And then, by the time you do it again next month, that's even your guardian ring right there. So then you can start farming easy food while they're on the side, and you're building out the rest as you go farm out in campaign or even in dungeons. So, that's one of the more quicker investments overall you would want to do, including the energy pack as well, because you're going to need a lot of energy to really do a lot of stuff in the game. But other than that, as far as all the other stuff in the game, to consider. For me, there's two ways I look at when it's like the more prominent idea to consider starting to spend a little more frequent. And that is once you like the first 30 days in the game, like after the first 30 days, then you can start considering if you want to spend more. And then B, once you get out of early game. I think once you get out of early game, that's going to be the secondary idea of should you consider starting to spend as far as other things in the game, as far as the traditional gems and energy pack.
Yeah, that's a good rule or some good parameters to go by for sure. What I usually try to tell what I would tell my best friend, I guess you could say, if you cannot like stop yourself from buying anything, the gem pack and energy packs are by far the best choices. Outside of that, I would say nothing is really worth spending anything on. When you first start. Like, until you learn the game. And now everybody learns this game at a different pace. Like some people could get to the knowledge that the average player gets to in 30 days, and they might be able to do it in 7 days, but they're probably watching raid videos 24/7 when they're not at work and when they're on break. And so they're trying to absorb as much knowledge so they get to an understanding of the game to where they can make a good assessment of what's worth buying, when it's worth buying, and the sacrifices that you're making in regards, right? Because there's an unforeseen price on top of the real world money, right? So I would say until you've well into having your first 3 or 4 60s, you know what I mean? Like some people can get a 60 within like a day or two, some people might take a month, right? But once you're in that 3, 4, 5, 60 range, I feel like you've learned enough about how the game works, how to build champions, what's worth it when it comes to identifying good artifacts, identifying which abilities are good, right? Because there's the small versions of poison, and then there's the big boy version, right? So the 2.5 or the 5%, right? And until you know what's worth it, you know what I mean? Like until you get a good understanding base level, that's when I would say. So it could be a different amount of time for everybody, but why I say when you're in that 3, 4, 5 range of 60s is because you're now starting to build teams and you're starting to play the game at a deeper level than just I gotta log in every day and get my campaign farmer, get my first level 60. You know what I mean? Like you have to get past that stage before you can really assess what's worth spending or how much to spend in this game, in my opinion. So that's what I would do. But if you really can't, like I said, if you can't stop yourself, the gem pack and then just energy, and then wait until you learn more about the game so you can make a good assessment for what works for your account. Because what's going to work, the packages that I might buy for my account are going to be different than the packages and the stuff that you're going to want to buy on your account, right?
Right. Especially depending on where you are in the game. Because
exactly.
Yeah, because one thing, because I know you said there's nothing other than the gems and the energy. There's really nothing. I mean, because don't get me wrong, right? We talked about this in the first episode, the Apprentice Pass. I still believe the Apprentice Pass is still worth buying as long as you buy the first one, not the plus 25, plus 15 or 25 in. But it's still worth buying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's still worth you getting the extra resource at the bottom. It's still worth you getting the Director Draft early on in the game. It's still worth it. I just wish they changed the Director Draft for a more exclusive champion that you can definitely use. That would definitely help you out major in the game, but it is what it is. But yeah, for sure though, I think it's still worth it early on in the game for anybody that gets it, because that's just extra resource on top, and then everything else you go along with it. Plus getting Director Draft as well as a nice carry champion if you needed her wherever you need her in the game, because she's definitely going to be one of the more better champions to carry you throughout the game.
Mm-hmm.
If you consider buying her, of course. But yeah, but even then, it's even in certain other parts in the game, because I've seen players, like, I'm guessing this player must have did their research and just watched the videos before they ever play it. Because I've seen certain people spend a lot on just shards early in, just to blow them up, just to get enough champions in the game, and then to say, okay, what are the top champions? Because I looked at one account, I'm like, okay, well, you have all the right champions,
but you can't build them out, and you got no resources, and now you have to spend even more money to get the resources, like the mixing packs and all that stuff. But listen, I got to go pick up the missus here, so I actually got to bow out. If you want to continue the discussion here and finish up this point, guys. Thank you guys. Thanks everybody for joining the podcast today. Today at 8 p.m. we're going to be doing on our respective channels our launch for today's challenge that we've been doing. We talked about it in last week's podcast. I'll let Wally finish up with that, let everybody know, kind of give a little bit of a refresher. I'm going to duck out of here. I really appreciate your time, Wally, and everybody here, but you know what they say, happy wife, happy life, right?
Well, it's supposed to be happy spouses, happy life. I'm not going with that happy life. Okay, I'm just saying. But look, real quick, because we can end this video right here. But one thing for sure is when we do our challenge, just make sure to remember this one. Like, what is our respected strategies when it comes to the challenge? Because of course, you're picking Aethel, I'm picking Kale. So of course, because we're picking two different starter champions here, we have to, like, I think it's pretty good to give it to like anybody else that's brand new to the game. Like, hey, like, why did you chose this champion, or what strategy would you build based upon pushing this champion overall when you start your account? And then, like, how would you progress with this champion? Like, what areas you think you would have some advantages in, understanding this champion skill set, and then how far you'll push forward. But but
I'll definitely be talking about that on my stream and my game plan, my overall strategy to this challenge. And I hope other people join us in this naked challenge.
We're starting this game straight up, no primo code links, nothing at all.
No promo links, and no new player promo code, right?
No
great raw.
Just going it like, oh, you're just someone brand new to the game. In reality, you
have no idea. Oh man, we're raw dogging it in the truest sense. But I really appreciate you guys. I'm gonna duck out now. I'll see you guys later.
Peace out, everybody.